Alright, shalom, shalom. Alright, coming back at you with another lesson through the power and the spirit of Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem, HaKadosh, giving the honors to all the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and the house of David is rising. So this is I'm gonna show a couple of visuals and go through certain precepts. Just wanna land back enough the elders and the apostles, the live stream. And what are the intercontinental ballistic missiles? And we got some visuals, you know, for those of us that are visual, we like to see certain things and to be able to, what's the word, visualize. That's the word, visualize, because there's things coming down the pipe, prophecies are yet gonna be fulfilled, and we're in the movie and we want to be in that play. We want to be playing our position in the movie. We're gonna be, whether we are gonna be playing our position. So look at this, man. How do intercontinental ballistic missiles work? Our position as prophets, and we're prophesying right now. And we're gonna look at some things, man, because when the elder apostles mentioned the intercontinental ballistic missiles, he says that they are intercontinental because they go from one continent to another. And he went into you know, well, I'm going to find out what Google says anyway. Let's find out what Google says and then come back and hit some precepts. Abarazah. So that's just the visual there. First of all, I want to get used to this Google the voice one that is. Let me back out a little bit. See what the Google woman says. Just gonna ask the question: what is an intercontinental ballistic missile? Doing our own little bit of research here. What is an intercontinental ballistic missile?
According to Wikipedia, an intercontinental ballistic missile is a ballistic missile with a range greater than 5,500 kilometers, primarily designed for nuclear weapons delivery.
Yeah. I'm just going to repeat it because it's written there, but I just want to get a feel of what the Google, is it Lexus? The Mrs. Oz behind the curtain. So it says an intercontinental ballistic missile is a ballistic missile with a range greater than 5,500 kilometers, primarily designed for nuclear weapons delivery. Conventional, chemical and biological weapons can also be delivered with varying effectiveness, but have never been deployed. Yeah, so they've never been tested. The elder apostle, he did say that they've never been tested. But you know, they look. If you didn't know any better, you might say they look fearsome, but they don't actually look fearsome, because we know what, when, and how. We know prophecy. So actually, when it starts to happen, this is going to be prophecy falling, playing out. And that's all of the Most High's will. So let the Lord's will take place. And I've got a precept. I want to bring out a precept. This is in Isaiah 54, and we go to 16. It says, "Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy." This is the instrument of the Most High's work, and it is a waster, and it's going to do the destroying. And the Most High created it. He created the smith. There's another one I want to read, because the elders was going into Joel and it was going into Zephaniah, and they was reading from the NLT. I'm going to read some verses from the NLT. Let me read this one, and I'm going to get to some of those other precepts that was brought out. So it would be the breakdown of the fire that's gonna of the war, the final war. This is the breakdown of the final war that's gonna take place. You know, after the other prophecies, the major prophecy, the MOTB, is going to be put into play, the digital currency. After those prophecies, when we're going to start getting into this is going to be the icing on the cake, man. And then after that, Yahushua return, all the things that going to take place on his return, the destruction, and other prophecies. But that's where it all starts. Abu Ratazar, we get beamed up in the chariots just on time, man, out of the fiery furnace, because this place is going to be fire, as it goes into in Joel's chapters 2 and Zephaniah goes into that, because they both prophesied about this missile. Let's read this in the NLT. Isaiah 54 and 16. We just read it in the KJV. Let's read it in the NLT. I have created the blacksmith who fans the coals beneath the forge and makes the weapons of destruction, and I have created the armies that destroy. So it describes it here, the maker, as the blacksmith, because that's really what they call them. In the common terminology, the biblical terminology would be smith, but in the common language, you might call them blacksmiths. The ones that I've actually visited a blacksmith before back in the day, when on one of those tour guide camping trips, one of those trips anyway, long years ago, and I visited a blacksmith. They do a lot of stuff with iron. They melt iron and they shape shift iron. They spend a lot of time heating up the iron. And I remember when I went there and visited. Yeah, they wear a particular protective, you can call it armor, mask, and they really know their stuff. They're professional people. So yeah, let's get into some of these, because there's other words too. There's other words for this intercontinental ballistic missile. The elders and apostles was going into it. Very interesting. Let's hit some of them. In Joel, we'll make this one. Don't have to make this one. Let me get some more information. I want to get some more information on this, because he was talking about NATO, right? Elder Apostle Tahar was talking about NATO. Leaders agreed to expect Ukraine NATO membership. Expedite Ukraine's NATO membership. This is from U.S. Department of Defense. This is their official website, July 11th. So we're gonna hold our tongue on this. I'm gonna hold my tongue on this, because other prophecies have to take place before. But I'm gonna read a bit of this. It says, at the meeting, NATO heads of state and government welcomed Finland as a full-fledged member of the alliance. Stoltenberg also said that the leaders look forward to Sweden. Let me jump down and hit the point. Right, it says, but Ukraine was the focus of the first day. The Security General said that allies have agreed to a 3-element package that will bring Ukraine closer to NATO. Right, the leaders agreed to a new multi-year assistance program for Ukraine to speed up the transition from Soviet or doctrines equipment to NATO standards. The national was well on its way to ditching the Soviet era training and equipment even before the second Russian invasion. This new package will help rebuild Ukraine's security and defense sector, and to cover critical needs like fuel, demane equipment, and medical supplies. Right, so not quite. The second element is establishing a new NATO-Ukraine Council, which will be a forum for crisis consultants and decision making. All members will meet as equal. Stoltenberg said, I look forward to having the meeting of the council tomorrow. So leaders are agreed to expedite Ukraine NATO membership. we're going to hold our tongue because other prophecies have to take place. But as what the elder said, if it was to happen, right, there will be an outbreak. It won't be necessarily a nuclear, but it will be a grand war if there was accepted. Because if you attack Ukraine, you attack all the other, members of the NATO. So it will be major. But we're gonna hold our like I say, other prophecies. It ain't gonna happen. Other prophecies will have to be fulfilled first. The the major prophecy, which is gonna be the tripping station set up before any kind of wars or major wars will take place. We're waiting and we're holding. We're gonna let the movie play out as we do. Yeah, we're gonna let them. We ain't gonna be run ahead. We're gonna let the movie play out. So let me just break a couple of these precepts down, as it was because the ballistic missiles are there's other terms. Let me see if I get a bit more information, man. I'm not gonna ask Google. What can an intercontinental ballistic missile do? I'm just curious. I'll just find out a little bit of information, as we like to do. This is like a little bit of research on camera. Other brothers might be edifying. It might, brothers can do what they're going to do, land back if them, or just anyway, let's read a couple of these. What can an intercontinental ballistic missile do? Ballistic missiles are ballistic missiles, a rocket propelled self-guided strategic weapons system that follows a ballistic strategy to deliver a payload from its launch site to a predetermined target. I'm going to be butchering a couple of words there, so lucky for that. This is getting technical. Ballistic missiles can carry conventional high explosives as well as chemical, biological, or nuclear munitions. Man, see, the Most High, when he creates something, he talks about he's created the smith to create these it's the smith that created them, which he created the smith, man. Yeah, I have created the smith who fans the corals beneath the forage. He describes him here as, and makes the weapons of destruction. Yeah, describes them as weapons of destruction. This is Isaiah 54 and 16 NLT. Weapons of destruction. I have created the armies that destroy. Yeah, they call them their armies. That's the missile. And there's a lot more information, but I want to see if I can get through some of these precepts. I might do more research on this. I'm curious, in my own time, man. How powerful is an intercontinental ballistic missile? How powerful? See, we just got to try and visualize certain things. The ICBM have ranges between, he mentioned about going from one part of the earth, continent, to another. So 6,000 to 9,300 miles, making virtually any target in the world. Making virtually any target in the world. And it's scriptural too, because we're going to hit some precepts to back that up. Valuable due to their powerful and deadly nature. ICBMs are considered a strategic defensive weapon. Man, we can go on, man, but let's hit some of these precepts. It just shows you the power of Yahweh Bahashim Yehoshua, man. We're gonna hit some of these precepts in Joel. I'm just gonna bring out the precepts that were brought out on the live stream of the main elders and apostles, and just because it gives you different views from different prophecies, but saying different prophets, but virtually saying the exact same thing. Joel chapters 2 and 1 says, "Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. Look at them, boy. See, the inhabitants of the land are the wicked, yeah. And it's gonna go on to say, yeah, those who are not aware of what time we're living in. This is talking about blowing the trumpet in Zion, yeah. Alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. The day of darkness, of gloominess, the day of cloud and of thick darkness, right? So again, it's broken down the clouds. Let's read. Darkness and mourning spread upon the mountains, and a great people and a strong there have not been ever like. Ever the like never shall be any more. After it even the years of many generations. Yeah, the day of the darkness, of gloominess, the day of clouds, and it's broken down. The clouds are those missiles. It's another terminology for them. And the thick darkness and the morning spread upon the mountains, and the mountains would be the governments today. You know, we mentioned about NATO and a lot of these nations high, because they're placed in a high position. Mountains, a great people and strong, and also the people are also the missiles. Yeah, the people are also the missiles, described as the missiles, right? And what did they do? They have no been ever like, neither shall be any more, after even to the years of many generations. Yeah, man. As a matter of fact, the elders went into the let's just go in a little bit of the translations. I don't want to make this a long video, but the NLT says of 2 says, it is a day of darkness and of gloom, a day of thick clouds, and that gloom, that's the effect of the missiles. Yeah, the thick clouds are the missiles. Yeah, and they bring darkness and a deep blackness, right? That's the effect of the missiles, man. The clouds are the missiles. Suddenly like dawn spreadeth across the mountains. Yeah, that's the effect again. And the great and mighty army appears, right? That's another terminology for the missiles, man. Giving you a visual. Nothing like it has been before and will ever be again. So let's jump out. And I wanna hit the point in 3. Yeah, in 3 also, and we're gonna look at the we're gonna read it in the NLT straight away. NLT of Joel chapters 2 verse 3 says, a fire devours them, a fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burns, and a land, yeah, that land is also that land is Babylon, right? Great Babylon over there in America, and you also got other lands that was mentioned that will be hit too. Certain other lands that are gonna be hit, like over there in Israel, gonna be mashed up too, burn up. And when we get over there, yeah, Yahshua, we gonna get over there. We gonna rebuild everything back to a paradise as it was. The land is like the Garden of Eden, before them and behind them a desolate wilderness. Surely nothing shall escape them. Right. So yeah, other lands gonna be hit as well as Babylon the Great. And let's carry on reading. So the land symbolizes Babylon. For the appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, yeah, and a horseman so shall they run. Right, let's go into that in the NLT as well. And they went into other verses, but I think this is going to really be it's going to cover everything. You know, they went into other verses like in Zephaniah chapters 2 and other pronunciations. Let's hit this one. Joel chapters 2 and 4, and we're going to read the NLT. It says, they have the appearance of horses, they gallop along like cavalry. Right, the horses again, they're the missiles, or the the intercontinental ballistic missiles. Right, they're powerful. We just looked at that. They have the appearance of horses. They gallop along like cavalry, and yeah, they're in formation, man. You know, everything is just like cavalry, as it says there. Gather along in formation. Let's read 5 of Hosea 2, or Joel chapters 2. Like the noise of chariots, and on the top of mountains they leap, like the noise of flames of fire. They goeth the stubble. They gathereth the stubble as a strong people set in battle aware. So that's broken down again. The mountains are the governments, and they leap like noise of flame, of fire. Right, they just leap from place to place. They keep coming from different directions, and the people again are the chariot, the missiles. The people are described there, right? Stubble as a strong people set in battle area are the missiles also. So I just wanted to get into some of these precepts. As a matter of fact, let me get into a little bit more. They went into Isaiah as well, Isaiah 13, and we're going to read 1. It says, the burden of Babylon which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. And it says in 5, they come forth for the far country from the ends of heaven, even the Lord. Right, again, the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Right, we just looked at Isaiah 54:17, talks about the weapons of his destruction, man. Yeah, made by the man made, which actually the Most High put it in his mind. The smith, or the blacksmith in the NLT, the blacksmith who makes them, he put it in their mind, man. Weapons of indignation to destroy the whole land. And it goes on. Yeah, so let's hit this one. It describes them as weapons of indignation. We want to sum it up here in Zephaniah and 2 says, let's read 14 and I'm just going through the precepts that was brought out, that was already brought out, and there's others too in Matthew, and also in Luke, talking about there shall be gnashing of teeth. So in 14 of Zephaniah 1 it says, the great day of the Lord is near, it is near, and hasteth greatly, even the voice of the day of the Lord. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly. The day of the Lord wrath, a day of trouble, distress, a day of wastiness, of desolation. Yeah, what brings the wastiness to the lands, which the lands are described as the lands are described in Joel, the mountains, or the mountains are Babylon, high places. You understand? So this is the waster is going to destroy these places, these high places, or he's going to make the land into a wasteland. Wastiness, a desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness. Right, man, that's going to be the effects of the missiles, which again in Joel it talks about the clouds, and they described the missiles are described as clouds. Won't hit this precept, some of these other precepts too, man, in Matthew. Like I say, we're just doing this is a drill. We can describe this as a drill. Matthew, some precepts just come to you, man, while you're doing videos. It's just the way the spirit works, man. Let's hit this one in Matthew chapters 25 and 31. It says, when the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations. Right, that's talking about that the last days, man. You understand, the destruction. Yeah, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And ultimately, Yahshua Allah, the elect, are his sheep that have been chosen from the beginning, the first fruits. And those that are the goats will be the wicked. Wicked, all the other governments, the wicked nations, and the Goyim. That's when he's going to sit, and he's going to be sitting on his throne, man. And it's going to end in let me bring another one out. One of my favorites in Psalms. Because yes, Yahweh Shai has to get his first. Psalms 110. He's been waiting patiently in anticipation. Psalms 110, and we can start from the top. It says, O Lord, said I unto my Lord, sit thou at my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool. And the Lord shall send a rod of strength out of Zion, and rule thou in the midst of thine enemies. Yeah, man. So before he comes, he's going to send his clads or his soldiers or his weapons of destruction that he created, Yahweh created, and he's going to bring judgment and destruction upon this earth. He's going to plead with them. Mashapat, which means he's going to bring destruction. You understand? And let me read this one in Luke, which is he's going to bring judgment upon this place, destruction upon this place. Luke chapters 13. Now this is some admonistration, or some admonition, I would say, to his elect. Yeah, this is what he said. Some of this is in red letters. Luke chapters 13 and 24 says, Strive to enter in at the strait gate, for many, I say unto you, will seek to enter in and shall not be able. Right, man? So the gate is narrow, but Yahshua Allah, his elect, we're striving, man, to get in, because we know what's about to come upon the face of this earth, and we're in that hopeful year, and we're hoping and praying whenever it comes, it's going to come on time. We don't have to be impatient about his judgment, and we see things are all in place. The stage is set. We're looking at the intercontinental ballistic missiles that he created via his blacksmith. So we're not shook, man. We're not shook. This is something that he created. This is part of the movie. Prophecies must be fulfilled. Jump down to Luke 13 and 28 says, There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth when ye shall see Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and all the prophets in the kingdom of God, and you yourself thrust out. Yeah, that's the wicked. Those mountains, those lands, the lands of Babylon, when we burn up, thrust out. So I want to give our praises to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yoshai, to Wada to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yoshai, for the spirit on me to do this video, man. And we're going to end with this one. Again, we started with it. Joel chapters 2 and 1 says, Blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm. And that alarm is being sound now. And you might even call it, when there was always wars, First and Second World Wars, there was always warning. Sirens went out loud so that people can go and hide in their bunkers. And we're sending out these sounds now, these warning sounds now, blowing this trumpet, which is this truth, so that people may know. And there's going to be people that are going to have to receive their judgments. There's not going to be no hiding place. They can set up as much bunkers, build as much millionaire bunkers under the ground as much as they want, man. We know where they're going to be. We're going to be out, know where to find them. Ultimately, Yahweh Shai going to know where to find them. As it says in Psalms 110, you're going to place them as his footstool under his feet. So we just have to continue doing this. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. Let's read this now. Get the translation in the the NLT, and we're going to end with that. What does it say in the NLT? The same precept. Joel chapters 2 and 1 says, Sound an alarm in Jerusalem. Raise the battle cry on my holy mountain. Let everyone tremble in fear, because the day of the Lord is upon us. I want to give our praises to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yoshai for putting the spirit on me to do another video. So we just looked at some of that information, valuable information. Ultimately, the prophecies are all there in place, ready to, and the missiles there. the intercontinental ballistic missiles there in place. And he says, all on the Most High's, all the Most High have to do is say, this is the time, man. And the warning is being sounded out now, and no one can complain they haven't been warned. The message is being sounded out around the world. Matthew 24 talks about this word will be preached throughout the entire world before the end comes. So you can't say you haven't been warned. So I want to say our praises, shalom to all the sincere Akim. Yeah, and it's on to the next. This word has gone out throughout the whole globe. So we're sounding that trumpet. We're going to continue in this year of hopeful of all the prophecies coming to pass. Until the next one, we out.